of debate and participation in this matter. A resolution by this body is the first step to empower us to begin even appropriation to go consult our people. The chair has the floor. The resolution has passed and is going to the Liberian Senate. You can disagree all you want. Justice for the Liberian people has finally arrived.
The program brings lawmakers to the table to discuss issues unfolding at the House, as well as summarizes Tuesdays and Thursdays sessions.
A warning focuses on methods for raising monies, example taxes, use of fees, custom duties, and tariffs.
Legislative agenda, bringing the House of Representatives to the people. Join your host, Robert Haynes, every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. for Legislative Agenda on ERBC 99.9 FM.
A very pleasant good day. Welcome to yet another stimulating discussion right here on the House's radio program. This is a program today in the House of Representatives. It is an Avalon program that highlights activities from up Capitol Hill, making Liberians to hear and know what the lawmakers are doing in the best interest of this country called Liberia. Today is the 25th of April 2024. My name is Robert Haynes. I'm the usual host of the program. It promises to be intriguing, and today we look at several of those issues taking place at Capitol Hill at the National Theatre of Politics in Liberia, where you have the representation of all of the 73 electoral districts across the length and breadth of Liberia. Stay tuned. We're taking a few bites of our theme song. When we come back, invite someone to listen with you. It's going to be intriguing here on the program today. Welcome back to the program, wherever you are. Great time together here this evening. Of course, activities happening of Capitol Hill are those things we bring to you every week, Thursday, 5 up to 6 o'clock on the State Radio ERBC 99.9 and several other frequencies across the country. So on this edition today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at various issues permeating the corridors of the legislature. Of course, you know, the budget hearing has been taking place at Capitol Hill. Both the revenue component concluded, the hearing, which is the public hearing, which is the expenditure component, got concluded, and today was the budget debate. So we'll explain that process to you, how it looks like, and then to make sure that we have all of the lawmakers participating actively in the budget debate. So after the hearings where line ministers and agencies of government appeared for a couple of weeks to defend their respective budget and defending their respective budget, some make appeal for additional fundings and so forth like that, and we are obliged this evening to be here to inform you, since in fact the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance in the House, chaired by District 16 Representative Honorable Desin Wawisibo, gave the Ways, Means and Finance Committee report in plenary, talking about the way the budget hearing and then those appropriations that will be made and so forth before actions. While coming here, we left the debate on, very heated, where the lawmakers are debating, people talking about priority areas where fundings should be placed and so forth like that. But yeah, good evening, welcome to the program. How you doing?
Yes, a wonderful time being here again. I'd like to say good evening to all of you who are listening. This is a wonderful time. I know it has been a week and coming back here. you are seated this evening to get the latest from on Capitol Hill. There are a couple of issues taking place. As you may be aware, the special sitting is ongoing, and there are a couple of activities taking place on Capitol Hill. It's good to talk about those things. But in the meantime and between time, the primary focus is going to be on the budget. And like Director Hinn said, the line ministries and agencies, commissions of government have been appearing before the Joint Legislative Committee, Ways, Means and Finance, to talk about budget and what is the conclusion. That plenary is debating the budget. Adequate time being given to individual lawmakers, thanks to the Speaker and members of the 55th Legislature who has provided such an open conversation for members of the 55th Legislature, specifically the House of Representatives, to debate the national envelope of the country. What are the features? We'll be talking about those things right on the program. It's good you invite a friend to listen, and of course, together all of us can be informed about what's happening at the Honorable House of Representatives.
That's very awesome. And so also today, the House of Representatives voted to amend the Liberia Revenue Code from GST to VAT, from goods, that's being called goods and services, which is the goods and service tax, GST, to value added tax, VAT. So members of the House of Representatives today voted to amend Chapter 10 of the Liberia Revenue Code. And so that decision followed a joint committee on Ways, Means and Finance, Judiciary, Public Accounts and Expenditure, who have been reviewing this process of this revenue code. And so, following the report, of course, yes, the President of Liberia, His Excellency President His Excellency President Joseph Yoman Boakai submitted to the House of Representatives that amendment, submitted for amendment, the Revenue Code, Chapter 10. So that speaks basically to goods services tax. So before it had been goods services tax called GST. So the revenue people, Liberia Revenue Authority, LRA people, know about this GST now. The amendment carries to value added tax. So from GST to VAT, from GST to VAT. And so following the joint committee report on today, plenary voted to amend that revenue code here today. And so that's a very awesome job being done by members of the House, and they voted to see that come to fruition. And so it speaks more about our tax regime. It speaks more about our tax regime to see that the lawmakers are very committed in making sure that the issue that has to do with our revenue aspect, the code, is being looked at from GST now to VAT, the value added tax. And so these decisions were being taken today by distinguished members of the House of Representatives.
Indeed, it followed a communication from the Liberian President, Ambassador Joseph Yoman Boakai, to members of the 55th Legislature, specifically the Honorable House of Representatives. So yes, it's going to add more value to the way we do or collect taxes in country. And so members of the Honorable House of Representatives thought that it was important to act upon the instrument, and said be it forwarded to the Liberian Senate for concurrence.
So we should be having Representative Luther Collins of Bapuli Electoral District Number 2. He's on his way, currently debating the budget there, the budget process ongoing. So he might be late. To be driving through. So we're expecting in 30 minutes. We're going 30 minutes and stay expecting on the show. Today he also had a media gathering He is the hostess chairperson on election inauguration, commending the National Elections Commission. So, in 30 minutes of the program, we're expecting he part of the debate ongoing there at the legislature. So he might join us in the next 30 minutes or so, for like that.
Yes, indeed. He held a press conference to commend the National Elections Commission and the good people of Nimad County and Granjida County Electoral District 1 to talk about the by-elections held in the two areas consistent with the Constitution. He was thanking members of the National Elections Commission, the authorities, and the citizenry, the electorates, for turning up in mass and ensuring that the process was held peacefully and that the votes of the people should be respected. So yes, he commended the National Elections Commission. He also extended words of commendation to the presumptive winners per the National Elections Commission statutory responsibility of declaring who's going to be the winner of the process in Nimad and Granjida District 1. He welcomed members of the legislature, those who are going to emerge as winners in the process.
Well, folks, we will join Representative Luther Collins. We should have had him in the studio here on today.
Yeah, there's a plans the process ongoing, right. So I'm told that he cannot make it here.
So let's say we talk to him. Representative Collins, good evening. How you doing?
Good evening. Good evening, Radio Land. Good evening, everyone. Good to be with you.
Not good at all, because you needed to be in the studio, even though you're participating in the debate, the budget issue that has you making sure to see your district represented in the budget. But anyway, we're here.
Okay, Ika, going through the budget debate is another good thing, fascinating thing for the Republic of Liberia, and of course, it should be 73 lawmakers, but the election started yesterday, and I'm sure the counting is being done, or they are still carrying on the counting process for Granjida. So very soon we will be 73 in number. But all 72 members should have been around, those of us that are in Liberia currently, so that we can put our people case forth.
Okay, well, this morning you had a gathering, a media gathering to talk about commending the Elections Commission. You want to tell us, you as chairperson on the House's Election Inauguration Committee, why you thought to do such, what you did?
Yeah, because we have to keep our people informed. We have to let our people know what we are here for. I've been a chairman on election inauguration. I have to be appreciative that the election process went smoothly. There was no much of noise, except as usual you will hear people in a mic talking from one thing to another. But I can assure you that the process was well handled, and I want to commend the Election Commission and all of the citizens to the both from the both countries. I want to appreciate them for having exercised their franchise.
Honorable Collins, are you sure that the Democrats of Liberia is maturing by the day? Evidence of the conduct of elections in Nimad and Granjida District 1?
I can assure you that is on a good path. Democracy on the right footing. I can assure you that, and that is why we are here. We, the member of the 55th, we will make sure that we do everything that our people will know our importance, the reason for which they elected us.
So, because you were not live in the studio, we might not have lots of time with you, but you tell us how is the job up Capitol Hill? How did you see the legislature while you were out, and how do you see it now since you resumed job on the 15th of January 2024?
Well, there is just a little bit different that when you are out there, you hear a lot, but when you are here, it's different. You kind of gain a different experience. Outside there, the people got a lot of things to say about the legislature on Capitol Hill, but that's not what it is. By coming here, I'm getting to get adjusted to different thinking. different way of analyzing things. So it's a little different.
And how is the people in district number 2 grappling up since you came at the legislature? Are they following basically your work, and what sort of reception are you getting?
Of course, they are funny. When we was inaugurated as the 55th lawmakers, we somewhere on the other side, and we stood as a team, as a bloc, to produce a speaker. And of course, we decided doing that because we wanted balance of power. So you see, things are working. We are here to make sure Liberia gain back her status quo, beyond status quo. So if we are to make decision, we should make decision, inclusive decision, not a unilateral decision. So I'm sure things are goes, and every time I make sure to get back to my people.
Now, you had to cut short your break to come back on the request of His Excellency President Joseph Yoman Boaka to look at key legislations. One of such has to do with the budget, another one has to do with the revenue code. Are you enjoying the gavel of the Speaker?
100%, I can assure you that everything is going as we expect.
Any message for your people? Your people in Bafuru District 2, they're listening. Any message for them?
I just want to give another more thanks and appreciation to the entire Babolu County, not leaving all Bopolu, not leaving all District 1, District 2, District 3, because we have 3 districts in Babolu. So I want to say a big thank you to all of the citizens of Babolu. After the budget hearing, I will make it my duty to go back to our people and make sure to tell them why it is, so that they can form part of decision making. And as I'm speaking to you, my team is in Babolu, the first of a kind in history. We are trying to erect the first representative office in Bokomo district. I think I put a bill on the floor. Of course, we'll be discussing it on Tuesday, so that we can erect a magisterial court in Bokomo district, where people from the Benin district, the Benin political district, will have access to that magisterial court. People from the Gangolala district will have access to the magisterial court. It's going to be the very first magisterial court in Babolu District 2, if all goes well. And I'm going to lobby. I've already started the process with my colleagues. I'm 100% sure that this bill is going to be passed.
Look, honorable colleagues, we look to have you one of these days in the studio when we will be extensive to look at more of your work since we Zoom. And then those communication you have submitted on the floor, we'll look to discuss them when we are in person in the studio.
Thank you, and I'll always avail myself. Thank you so much.
He's the Hustle Chairperson on election inauguration there on Reluto as Collins speaking to us from his office. He had to just run from that section while the debate is ongoing just to participate. We hope to have him in the studios someday, Yagan.
That's the law for the job you do. He's passionate. He's one of those lawmakers, very passionate about what he's doing on Capitol Hill. Addressing the press this morning, he had to get prepared for session, and whilst the budget debate is ongoing, he had to take some time out to talk to the good people of Liberia. And one of those things he highlighted is to talk about how the democracy of Liberia is maturing by the day. Evidence of the elections in Nimba County and the representative by-election in Granjida County District 1. There are a couple of other issues we talked about. He spoke about the creation or establishment of the district representative office, and he said it's going to be the first of its kind in Bapolo County District 2. Let's hope that the project can jumpstart, and of course the people there can celebrate and see the reality of his promise to them.
Definitely. So you see that the commitment is there, like you mentioned. Even though the debating the issue, but he thought that, let's make sure that our voices are being heard on some of the crucial national issues.
Yes, he took a definite stance to talk about the War Crimes Code when that resolution was introduced, the concurrence aspect of it coming from the Liberian Senator, the Honorary House of Representatives. He was one of those persons also participating in such decision making. You talk about the budget. I know for sure when we had the deliberation in the joint chamber, he was always active and raising some concerns. He would sought inquiries about some of what was happening at the line ministries and commission of government, and then one of the things done properly, he said, if I'm going to give you my vote for increment in your budget, then of course we have to correct some of those things that are considered lapses in the government. So yes, he was clear about those things, and I think when he spoke to the foreign ministry, they consented and said, yes, Honorable Collins, you're correct. And so I think he's one of those persons held in high esteem at the Honorable House of Representatives.
Definitely. So he's Batulu County Electoral District number 2 representative, Honorable Luther X. Collins there. So yes, of course, yes, we talk more of the issue relative to the budget. That is our focus point on today. We're going to have that discussion. We mentioned today was following the concluding aspect of both the revenue. The revenue component is where we have land ministry and agency that generate revenue for the country. Then after that, we have the expenditure component. It is the time where we have ministries and agency coming to defend their respective budget. Ministry and agency will come to defend their respective budget at that time. So that has been going on for pretty close to weeks, couple of weeks, and so now that that took place, we have the committee on, because it was jointly being done by both the Senate and the House committee, all right, and they have to return to their plenary. So the Senate returned to her plenary, the House returned to her plenary, and today the chairperson of Ways, Means and Finance for the House presented the report, and in the wisdom of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, he said it's important that we have our members participate actively where we can debate the budget. And so chairing today as presiding officer was the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Panka Fala, and the debate have been going on since this morning. It's very lengthy, and you have people giving their fair share of the argument, shifting their own views about policies and programs, and where some appropriations need to be made in the budget. If this country is to make progress, then there should be key areas of priority. And so that's what the committee chairperson, Honorable Desi Rawisibo, reported on, and there were also additional findings added, and we are obliged to inform you of those things here.
Yes, I think the coordination the Constitution talks about is in full swing amongst the 3 branches of government, and I want to outline 2 of those branches to talk about the executive and the legislature. So ever since the budget was submitted to the legislature, and the Honorable House of Representatives took seats, coming to a joint committee to discuss or review or scrutinize the budget, you have the different line ministries and agencies of government appeared to talk about the revenue component. You had all of those entities appearing before the joint legislative committee. When it was time to talk about the expenditure aspect, you also had the cooperation, and I think it's good to highlight that coordination, and I think going forward we need to continue on that path. There is collegiality between the members of the executive and the legislature. It's good to highlight such. Also to talk about the component today that members are debating. From my intro, I said
definitely debating.
Yes, the speaker was magnanimous to have a time frame allocated for each member to deliberate or debate the matter. So it's not just about coming from the committee room and the members are taking decision just based on the recommendations coming from the committee. Yes, there are recommendations coming from the committee on what should be done to this line ministry or agency of government, but indeed the recommendations should be evaluated, should be scrutinized properly, because plenary is the highest decision-making body. So if plenary takes a decision and said this is going to be the appropriation approved by the Honorable House of Representatives, is going to be a unanimous decision by the body, by members of that body. So yes, the debate into the budget is ongoing. You have members of the media. It's open to the public. Yes, you have the media. You have friends of the legislature to talk about the partners of the legislature. You have the different CSOs. They are present and in plain view, monitoring how the debate process is taking place. So like Honorable Collins said, he's from District 2, Bapolo County. He has participated in the budget debate. If your lawmaker is from Bond, from Bassa, from Maryland, from Green Crew, from River G, you know, they are debating. So each lawmaker has a say into this budget. It's not just a budget that few individuals are discussing and here say the budget is passed by the Honorable House. No, it's an open process from start of the budget hearings up to where we are today, that lawmakers are debating thoroughly the budget. It is open to the public, and people continue to make their input into such conversation that will be a reflection of the programs and policy of this government in terms of realizing the fiscal period that the budget will run. So it's open up to the public, and we are glad to let you know that your lawmakers are debating the budget openly, and we hope that it's going to be of interest to all of us when the budget is passed.
Right, definitely. You are absolutely correct. And so as per the mandate of plenary, the Ways, Means and Finance Committee jointly, both the Senate and the House, vigorously conducted a thorough scrutiny of the draft national budget for fiscal 2024. All right, fiscal year 2024, and that national development envelope was submitted in the tune of 692 million. All right, 692 million. It was submitted at. So after the revenue component and then the expenditure component, having these line ministry, the agency coming to defend their budget, and then in the wisdom, because most of those entities made an appeal for additional funding to make sure that they can be effective, like the Ministry of Agriculture. They made an appeal for additional funding. Most of the entities, the Liberia National Police, the armed forces, those people made appeal. So it was submitted as 692 million coming from the executive, and then after the thorough scrutiny, and then also discovering new revenue streams, the committee now, after all of these consultations, the committee concluded a revenue envelope of United States dollar 743 million. Actually, the funds is United States dollar 743 million 859,827 dollars. So from 692, it is now 743 million. All right. So it is still a preliminary. This is a preliminary report coming up from the Ways, Means and Finance Committee of the House, and the debate is ongoing. So we want to make sure that you get to know about that, and we will tell you some of those areas where additional funding was being added to.
Yes, that's it's a part of the recommendations we talked about. So yes, the exact figures were placed on the book, but again, there's recommendation from the committee, the Joint Legislative Committee. Like Director Haynes said, there were appeals along the way as part of the budget hearing. So yes, the line ministries and agencies appearing, they were making some passionate appeal to the members of the committee that they needed some additional funding or increment into their respective budgets to ensure productivity. But again, all of what the appeals that were received from those who appeared, look, all of those appeals could not be considered. So yes, the members thought that let's have a priority. Let's look at the line ministries and agencies of government that need exact increment into their budget. And so that was done. The committee scrutinized that thoroughly and said, let's make a recommendation to plenary seeking the endorsement to have our recommendations, considered for these institutions. So there are institutions that I recommended for increment into their budget. I think Director Heen has, the list of those institutions or line ministries and agencies of government that we could just, talk about.
Right. Like for instance, the Ministry of Health. Health is a paramount concern, and people, when we talk in the issue of health, is nothing to joke with. So in the wisdom of the committee, they recommended additional funding in the tune of 5.5 million to be added to the health ministry budget. Yeah, the budget. They also recommended 10 million to be added to the Ministry of Education budget, because education is nothing to joke with. Now, understanding now the University of Liberia thinking about a PhD program, and some of the other universities and across the country. And so they are recommended for additional 10 million to be added on the Ministry of Education budget. Then for the bridge and waterways situation,
yes, right.
And that I think it used to be under Ministry of Youth and Sports, right?
Yes.
Right. And so there's some 3 million to be added to the bridge and waterways. Then to Adwex Youth. Adwex Youth. 3 million is being recommended to be added for Adwex Youth. Then for what took place during the Armed Forces Day. So for the AFL welfare, 4 million is recommended to be added for the Armed Forces of Liberia in its budget. For the Liberia National Police at the Training Academy, there's appropriation made for 2 million to be added. So 2 million is to be added to the Liberia National Police for training. 2 million, additional 2 million. Then for fire service, remember you got fire all over the place. So you see, the lawmakers are people who are very strategic in looking at too many fire outbreaks around the country. And so they thought that, look, okay, in order for us to be able to solve some of these problems, we should now have 4 million in the budget, additional 4 million for Liberia National Fire Service. So we can get fire equipment, we can get the fire trucks and so forth like that. So 4 million to be added for fire service. Then for national disaster, the rainy season is already here. Flood, and then when the wind is blowing, people's things getting all those kind of things like that. So additional 2 million is recommended to be added in the National Disaster Management budget, or Disaster Management Agency, right? The budget. Then for the Ministry of Agriculture, specifically for rice production. Remember, this new administration under His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boaka, there's one arranged agenda. It begins with A. It begins with A, agriculture. And so additional 3 million is recommended to be appropriated for the Ministry of Agriculture, specifically for rice production.
Yes, so again, we'd like to say to you, this is the recommendation. This is just a recommendation from the committee. We are not saying that the plenary has approved the recommendation. We are still discussing. Yes, we are still discussing, but because we have privileged information, to the budget, of course, we have to give you an outline of the recommendation from the committee. So if the full plenary is going to endorse the recommendation from
the Joint Legislative Committee, then of course it's going to come into fruition. But the reason why you see the additional, or there's going to be some increment to the budget of the line ministries and agencies of government outlined by Director Haynes is because of the urgency of the role that they play. We're talking about developing the minds of young people in this country. When you go across Liberia, rural areas, you have students who are sitting on the bare floor and they are learning. Their condition of learning are appalling, a very appalling situation, or conditions that they are learning under.
Right.
Some are learning under trees. And to address some of those issues by the Ministry of Education, the committee thought, because the Ministry of Education appeared before the budget committee, and they said in reality, what are some of those challenges? I think good of the matter, the education authorities recently toured southeastern Liberia, so they had a fair shared understanding of what is taking place across Liberia. And those things are just similar to what's taking place across the country. So they made a recommendation, and from that recommendation today, there is a recommendation now from the committee that in as much as the Ministry of Education is to receive this as budget appropriation or allocation, let's add this amount to complement the efforts of the Ministry of Education.
The majority of what came from the executive was for recurring costs.
Yeah,
That's for just salaries. So how will some of the ministries and agencies function? How are they to function if additional appropriations are not being made for them? But so you see, the lawmakers are very strategic.
and we're talking about health. I was about to talk about health because
additional 5.5 billion.
you know, like you said, Director Hughes, we are already into the winter season. There's going to be some kind of outbreaks for our people. I'm not praying for that, but you know, our people, some are still fetching drinking water from streams, and there's going to be a problem. What if there's going to be an outbreak? How can the Ministry of Health respond immediately? That was the thinking of members of the committee, the Joint Legislative Committee. So they thought that it was important to also recommend to the plenary for an increment into the budget of the Ministry of Health. We're talking about fire service, and we spoke of that. The fire service people are saying, yes, in as much as we need additional revenue intake for the fire service to be more productive, but they're also saying to the citizens that you have to be very mindful. The first major is self-preservation. Yes, so you must be able to take the appropriate steps not to put yourself into danger. So if you have a breaker in your house, you know, when they appeared, they spoke of that and say, look, let the people be able to bring that breaker down every time there is a power outage. You cannot leave it on and say when the current comes, and, you know, everything will come on, then you know that current on. Even if you're asleep, wake up and bring down the breaker. You have appliances, do not leave them in the wall. Those were words that they were saying. But in as much as, you know, they want to fight the fire, nobody praying for fire outbreak in this place. But again, when those things are happening, the only way that the fire service will respond in the minds of the committee is by adding something small to their own budget so that they will be able to respond. The disaster management agency will never flood. They have said to us we should not build in the swamp and wetlands. We should be able to even contact the EPA when we are building. But many of us don't have the resources. We boycott. We don't go there to ask the people about what structure should be erected in a wetland, and we build and build. So when there's flood, indeed they will have to respond. When roots are de-roofing of homes, they will have to respond. So yes, they thought that it was important, and I said to you that they look at the different ministries and agencies of government and say, okay, this one we cannot add something there. It's not that they don't care for you, they care for you, but you're going to work in a budget that's provided. But in as much as we have these other situations, let's prioritize the other people. Maybe in the next budget or so, you could be prioritized. So yeah, this is the whole conversation that's taking place on Capitol Hill, and we say to you again, these are recommendations from the committee. They have that, they are approved. When they are approved, we'll come back here, we'll tell you, say, the lawmakers approved the figures for XYZ ministry, BYZ ministry, and then all of us can have that conversation. But the process is open, and this is just about the 55th legislature being so very transparent to the people who elected them and who gave them the power to be on Capitol Hill. Well, right. So at that point, after explaining the process of the budget, we can open the lines to interact with you, our people. You want to join us on the conversation. Folks, you're listening to the program today in the House of Representatives. It is an hour-long program here on this radio. Every week, Thursday, 5 to 6 o'clock is being relayed on hosts of other community radio stations on the following: Radio Farmington in Grand Cape, that is in Maggie County, sorry, Cotton Tree area, the Voice of Hope in Plebo Southern District, Maryland County. Other stations there in the southeast also relay the program. 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096, 0770-25-9660 are the numbers. You can join us right here. 5.5 million added to the Ministry of Health budget. 10 million is recommended to be added to the Ministry of Education budget. The amount of 3 million to bridge and waterways. Additional 3 million to at-risk youth. 4 million to be added to AFL budget. 2 million for police for training specifically. 4 million for fire service. 2 million for national disaster management, 3 million for rest production, Ministry of Agriculture. Let's go to the line, interact with you. You want to join us? Here are the numbers: 0880-514-096, 0770-25-9660 are the numbers to join us right here. The lawmakers, after hearing during the budget hearing, they are now debating the country draft national development envelope. Telling you where this have to go and for what reason. This person joined us on the line. Great to have you this evening. Hello.
Hello.
Let's hear you. Your name, where you join us from?
Yeah, I'm Gibson calling from Monrovia.
Gibson, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for what you did for all to hear from the House. And what happened is that the agriculture budget for me is very little. Because we talk about agriculture, it's very paramount to this nation.
Small.
And I think if I'm not making a mistake, United Nations said that every country should give something like 15 million. 15% of their budget to agriculture to make the people self-sufficient. Not only for eating, but to self-sufficient mean economically for themselves. So other people interested in making cocoa farm, which is tree crop, making restaurant, different vegetable, all that want to be self-sufficient for themselves, not for eating alone. Yeah, and another thing I did not hear is that the civil servant, the civil servant, they should not play fun with it, with beg. The people are working, and the money that they pay for civil servant is very, very minute, very little. Thank you for your operation.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. Let's keep listening to the program. The lot more. The debate is still ongoing off Capitol Hill. This person joined us. Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Please go ahead. Tell us the name, where you call from.
My name is Steve Collins. I call from Ominga.
Please go ahead.
I did not hear the budget for the GA. It's my concern because for the proliferation of drugs, it's my serious concern.
Okay, we will be able to tell you more of them, all right? But what we have is what we're dealing with because the budget is ongoing right now. Let's take more of the concerns coming up. Hello?
Hello.
Let's hear you. Your name, where you call from?
My name is Cedric Kamal calling from Sano.
Kamal, please go ahead from Sano.
Oh, my brother, thank you. I appreciate the budget that people are trying to propose. And you see the problem, the budget Benjamin, the people to profile budget, but time in serious, the sovereign are in serious. The central government says low profile on the interior people. And we made a government. Time is students are working on 1 hour this thing, which was school. No car. When they go to school, their uniform everything will be wet. For what? And we left them and the power budget, we are receiving it. They're eating it.
So in other words, you want the budget to be having trickle-down effect on the masses of our people?
Yes.
Right.
They got to provide cars.
for the students.
But then what the people discussing now? You see, now what they discussing?
Yes, they were discussing 1,000 years. That the post-system will not be in there. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot. Let remain. We cannot be pessimists. We have to be optimistic about things. Now, you see, what came from the executive, right? What came from the executive was in the tune of 692. Now, those agencies of government came in and made additional appeal for more allocation. And so, looking at the issue of health is very, very important. That's why additional 5.5 million is recommended to be added to their budget. The Ministry of Education is very important. Education is a priority, and therefore the committee recommended for 10 billion to be added to Education Ministry budget. All right. So along the way, that's how it is. We have to be able to look at where we are. Of course, yes, these debates, these legislative maneuvering are ongoing off Capitol Hill.
Yes, Director Haynes, and maybe to the caller who dropped a line, you know, the lawmakers are very concerned about the people who they represent. So we cannot say that the lawmakers have been discussing and there's no impact. Let's say to you that you have members of the legislature who come from those areas. They know the situations taking place across the country. They come from rural communities. They are confronted, about and with those issues from those areas. So when they come on Capitol Hill, look, the budget is so small to the extent that it cannot go to one sector. So we have to cut across and ensure that we can jumpstart something. This is not just the end of discussing about the growth and development of this country and tying it to the budget. Look, there are other instruments that the lawmakers are very keen that will impact the lives of people. Look, you're talking about ratification of concession agreements. You're talking about amendments of law in this country. You're talking about passage of other laws that will benefit the people. So it's not just about this budget, but again, we can say to you that the lawmakers are concerned about all of those things that you're talking about. How children are learning, walking distances to go to school, how health centers across the country, will need nursing to treat people. They are concerned. They are not turning their backs on those things. The reality, no, they are not doing. But again, we cannot solve all at the same time. Right. This is why the lawmakers, we're just telling you about the recommendations. We cannot say to you, look, at the end of this budget debate, then we'll tell you, the appropriations in blueprint, because it's going to be a decision that has been taken by the legislature, and we will be here to communicate such decision to you. So we cannot say the lawmakers, are ignoring the plights of the people. No, they are aware of those issues. That's why they are taking time out. Look, if I tell you that since today, there are lawmakers who have not come out for lunch. They are in the debate. Discussing. Yes, they have not come out. Let's go back to the Atlantic. Couple of concerns from Liberians. Hello.
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 Yeah, let's hear you. Your name, where you call from?
Yeah, I'm John, man, calling from Panama.
John, you have a full name. What's your full name?
My name is John Toe.
Yeah, you're scared to call your Tony. John Toe, go ahead.
Yeah, what we're trying to say here, all what you said, it's good, but the budget is very small. Why this country rich like this, always depending on few countries to help them with something? Why we can't have our own project? Inside no Bokonji to go there. Why they can't buy a machine and have a very strong
how do you buy the machine?
The machine, the little one they collecting, they can buy a machine and have government project digging gold, employ their own people.
How much you know you're collecting? How much you know you're collecting?
Oh, they feel taxes they pro collecting. Now what we depend on?
How you see the budget increasing? If it was submitted as 692, you really understand it yet?
I understand.
So the people looking at other areas.
Already passed, but let's have our own
we didn't say the budget passed. We said the budget debate is ongoing. After the hearing, so the new thing can happen. Why the lawmakers talking about it? So new thing can happen. You gotta be listening to the thing before you. They're not finished. They still talking about it. So when they finish now, then we can tell you say they finish. But right now, we'll tell you about where they are with it. They recommending and say, okay, let's put 5.5 million the additional money now you know that
Some 9 o'clock, the people stay down there. They're still talking. Nobody can answer you to say, let's go back to.
and that's why you elected your lawmakers. They are
committed.
They're committed, acting in your interests. Like you talk, if we talk about the issue of health in these counties, you have clinics, you have a medical, you have hospital, you have the J.J. Dawson Hospital, you get the government hospital in Buchanan, you got Redemption Hospital. I mean, a lot of them across Liberia. So if the issue of health come on the plate, then you have to have people debating and also talking about doing additional funding for them.
We can shut down the government to just prioritize one sector. We gotta you gotta be a team mother. You are a team mother. If you give the other twin one breast on the other side, you have to give the other one breast. Yeah, so you can't deny one person. So everybody got a chance to be into it. So the Lord make us know about all the things that are happening across the country. They come from the same areas.
We'll take 2 or 3 more and then I'll close up on the program. 0880-514-096 0770259660. This is the program today in the House of Representatives right here on ELBC 99.9. Several other frequencies across the country. We're here every Thursday 5 up to 6 o'clock to inform you about the workings of the Honorable House of Representatives and what the lawmakers are doing there in the interests of Liberia. This person on the line. Hello. Oh, sorry. 0880-514-096 0770259660. Good job being done up Capitol Hill, having your leaders lock up and debating the country national development envelope. Without the budget, the government cannot function. You have to have a budget. You have to have allocation made. This person. Hello. Oh, this person seemed to be having me talk twice. Hello.
Hello.
Let's hear you. Your name, where you call from?
I'm Janji Jacobs. I'm calling from Duazo.
Mr. Janji Jacob, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for this show. It's very interesting, and the analysis you guys are making, you're informing us as public. And then one of the areas that I have small is that with all the increment that they are doing, they are genuine and they are important. And thank God we got lawmakers in the house now that not only sit down and look at things for themselves, but rather they're looking on the national level. Thank God for that. But one thing I want to bring to the minds of the people in the house, even though I'm not anywhere in government, but one important area of government that are long term being existing, I see from my early time to Jowia time, that 22,623 that are allotment that they get, they call it that particular place, they call it the Liberia Industrial Free Zone Authority. No money going there. Are they telling us that place will remain closed after the war? We have had 3 successful, election, and things have returned to number, even though the economic body is not something that will.
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll look into it.
Note of that.
While the lawmakers are debating, we'll also bring that to them to look at it.
We'll take note of that.
Let's look at our future authority, man. Because some people, anybody want to go down there, including myself.
Okay, my brother. Okay, thank you. Well, we have to wind down the curtains. Thanks a lot to all of you for participating. We always here on Thursday to talk about the workings of the House of Representatives. Yeka, we have to wind down the curtains.
Yes, we'll be here on Thursday to talk more.
Right. And so you join us on Thursday, but we've been looking at the country draft national development envelope submitted in the tune of 692 million. And the joint committee have been debating and they have recommended for additional funding for some of the line ministries and agencies. So it is now in the tune of $743,859,827. If this is being agreed upon by our lawmakers, then the budget will be at this stage. But again, the debate is ongoing. Budget debate is ongoing, and thanks to the leadership of the House of Representatives under the gabble of House Speaker Councillor J. Fonati Kofa and the rest of the team, making sure that we can have inclusivity where people participate actively in the country national development envelope, where you get to know how much is allotted to this ministry, how much is to that other ministry, and so forth. How is it being used? All of that. We're back here on Thursday. My name is Rapport Haynes. Have yourself a God bless evening. Bye bye.